Hey everybody, welcome back to appTECH Talk. You know, we are all overwhelmed by all of the news that we hear, everything that we see online about breaches and security. So how do we keep up with what the latest threats are? Well, that's what we're going to talk about next. Stay tuned. Let's face it, there's probably not a day that goes by that you don't either hear the word security or read the word security either online or on TV. There are just so many different sources of feeds that we see every single day, and it's hard to kind of listen to all of them and sort through and prioritize and understand what's really happening. So today I'm going to break down some of the best sources that I use to keep up with what's going on. So when I reference what's going on, I'm talking about what are the latest threats that can impact your organization? What are the latest vulnerabilities that came out that can affect systems within your organization? What are the latest trends that we're seeing? I'm going to talk about a few different ways to keep track of these. Today I'm going to give you some examples of people to follow that are always keeping up with the news in this industry. I'm going to give you security websites to visit that always do a great job of keeping you up to date on the latest threats and the latest news, and also how to leverage a platform that's owned by Twitter called TweetDeck. So the first one we're going to talk about is the right people to follow. If you are connected to and follow the right people, it will really help reduce the noise and clutter of all of the information that we seem to get every single day. The first one that I'm going to mention is Brian Krebs. Brian Krebs is probably one of the people that I have been following the longest. He is a very good journalist on cybersecurity. He studies the industry. He studies the underground black markets. He has worked with government to help them find the right people that are causing malicious intent, and has just done a great job of keeping the InfoSec cybersecurity community updated with the latest threats and info. His name again is Brian Krebs. Brian Krebs is not technical. However, he just knows this industry extremely well. He has studied it for years, as I mentioned, and just knows the people, the places, and most of the time what's going to happen next. The next person that I'm going to talk about is Eugene Kaspersky. Now, if that last name sounds familiar to you, it's because it probably is, and that's because of Kaspersky antivirus software. So Eugene has been in this industry for over 30 years, and he founded Kaspersky Antivirus, and he is always contributing to the cybersecurity community. He as well contributes data to the Verizon breach report that comes out every single year. He's always posting online, and it's just another great source to add. So the next person that I'm going to talk about that might really sound familiar as well, and it might be because he was on the FBI's top wanted list, is Kevin Mitnick. Kevin Mitnick, I have followed him for years and is another great source. So he was a world-renowned hacker that did illegal activity back in the 90s. He actually spent time in prison because he was one of the most wanted hackers in the entire world. He is an extremely smart individual and has since, after he did his time, has converted over to the good guys, and he now works with organizations to teach them how they can keep their organization secure, what they can look for, and he also consults with people as well. Kevin Mitnick speaks constantly around the world. He does virtual events, he does keynote events, and is a very interesting person to follow. And even though he was one of the best hackers back in the 1990s, he has founded a company and is still on top of his game and always keeping up to what is going on in the InfoSec community. Along with people to follow, I also want to mention some sites that I follow frequently to keep up to date on what is going on, because as we know, not everything we read on the internet is true. So I'd like to follow very reputable websites that have to do with cybersecurity. So just to name a few, we have the Bleeping Computer. So if you check out and Google the Bleeping Computer has been around for so long and is just an abundance of information about technical stuff, security stuff, and so on. The next one is the Hacker News. So if you Google the Hacker News, you will find all kinds of excellent information. We also have Dark Reading, Threat Post, and Security Week. So again, just to mention these, Bleeping Computer, The Hacker News, Dark Reading, Threat Post, and Security Week. Those are probably the top websites that I visit on a daily basis. When I wake up, I don't drink coffee, but when I wake up and I'm drinking my sweet tea in the morning, I'm normally sipping tea and I'm looking at those websites to see what happened overnight, what happened the day before. They are very good at keeping me up to date. So the next one out there, in my opinion, is probably one of the best hidden gems. There is a product called TweetDeck that is actually owned by Twitter. And it is a great little web application that you can run with your browser, Chrome, Edge, whatever you're using, and you can plug in different hashtags to follow. So what do I mean by hashtags? Hashtags are certain searches that I do in these columns within TweetDeck so that I can always have flowing in front of me brand new information. Some of the hashtags that I typically load my columns up with is hashtag cybersecurity, hashtag infosec, information security, breach, and 0 day. So if you're wondering what 0 day is typically a vulnerability that does not have any patch or fix for. So I like to follow all of these certain things so that I can stay ahead. So cybersecurity, infosec, information security, breach, and 0 day. And these are not the only hashtags to follow. You can really follow just about any hashtag you want to pertaining to cybersecurity. Typically, because I have multiple screens set up, I like to have a screen with just TweetDeck running and rows of different hashtags. And my screen is way off to my right, and I can kind of watch that all day long. And if I see something that just doesn't look right or something that I haven't seen before, I am seeing that very quickly in real time because someone is tweeting about it. Typically, I'll find things out a day or two before they actually make breaking news. Twitter and TweetDeck is great for this type of source. These, of course, the ones that I mentioned, are not the only sources that you can follow. You can do your own research and Google and find things that you might like even better. The idea is to follow certain things every single day so that you can kind of tune out all of the noise and chatter and really focus on good sources. Because as we mentioned earlier, not everything on the internet is true. So finding yourself some great sources is definitely going to give you an advantage. I hope that the information that I gave you is something that you can take back and put into place and be beneficial for you. If you have any questions or want even more sources, please feel free to reach out to appTECH Technologies. Thank you so much for tuning in to appTECH Talk.